A very good afternoon on behalf of India Fintech Forum. I'm Medha, and here we have with us Mr. Virender Bisht, CTO and co-founder of NIYO, a leading fintech firm of India. Hello, Mr. Bisht. Welcome to our Fintech Leadership Series.
Thank you very much, and it's a pleasure being here.
Sure. So, Mr. Bisht, NIYO has had a promising partnership with IDFC First Bank. Are there more such collaborations that you're exploring?
Yeah, in fact, there'll be a few that we'll be announcing very shortly. And let me, on that note, also tell you that NIYO, since the inception, actually has all been about partnerships. We started way back in 2015, and our first partnership actually was announced with Yes Bank. And subsequently, we announced new products with DCB Bank, and over course of time, with IDFC, as you mentioned. Very recently, we announced another partnership with ICICI, and there are a few in store, as I said. We'll be announcing them very shortly.
Great. So in your experience so far, is the Indian setup moving towards the European model of an open neo-banking space?
Actually, no. If you look at the fundamental difference between, European license, new banking space in particular, is that the players actually eventually they have their e-money license, and for that matter, actually many other parts of the world. But whereas in India, we don't actually have a digital banking license as yet. Therefore, partnership is the way to go in India. And we believe in India that it's a very heterogeneous market, unlike many Western countries which are more homogeneous markets. The customer segments are very diverse, and the needs of these segments are very, very different. And incumbent players actually have grassroots penetration; they have brand presence. So it makes all the most sense for new age startup like us to go and partner with the like-minded banks.
Right. You mentioned about how incumbent players already have a reach towards the rural grassroots. So in your opinion, what better serves the goal of financial inclusion down to that strata of society? Is it neobanks or hybrid banks?
I think it's hybrid banks, but the answer is more nuanced than that. If you look at India, then you really need to look at it from a lens of there is Bharat within India, there is the upcoming millennials, and then aspirants in India, and then of course we have in the well-off people in India. So from our lens, we tend to look at this as the classical pyramid, in which we have bottom of the pyramid segments, and these customers actually have different needs. And we have a product called NIYO Bharat for that segment. And then we have in the middle of them, like middle income group, primarily comprising of youth of India, which will be represented in the millennials and Gen Z segment. That is where the modern neo-banking experience, if you will, will come handy for that segment. And then at top of the pyramid, we have almost like HNI individuals, people who travel abroad and have actually other businesses as well. So for that, we actually have a product called NIYO Global. In fact, for all things, NIYO Global is the product for which NIYO is kind of known out for. But then the reality is that our number one business is actually NIYO Bharat, which doesn't get that much mention, particularly in media.
So you've mentioned NIYO Bharat and how that is something that is unique for the Indian customers.
Yeah.
So again, compared to the global neo-banking software market, what are the unique opportunities and challenges that you see in India?
Yeah, I think opportunities and challenges are actually two faces of the same coin, right? And if you look at the NIYO Bharat segment, their needs are very, very different from what and I'll try to illustrate that with a few examples here. But the broad point I'm trying to make is that the need of these three customer segments are very, very different. So, for example, when you look at a NIYO Bharat customer, these are typically migrant population who actually are working in manufacturing, which are close to the cities or outskirts of cities. If you are in Bangalore, for example, you look and go around in Pune. If you're in Delhi, you look and go around the Manesar belt. And you will see a lot of people employed in those manufacturing setup, services setup, which are not primary residents of that that area. So their banking needs are very different. Typically, they actually would have a bank account, but their bank account is not accessible at the point of work. So they need an accessible bank account at that point in time. Then you would look at that every month they need to send some money back home. So they have very unique needs which are not well represented in other segments. Now, if you look at the other segment, which is neo global segment, there we would, when pre-COVID days, travel was the number one use case for this, and at travel, global travel actually was the number one use case. So the scenario there was that you are traveling to Singapore, you are traveling to Hong Kong, and then you are short of currency. Then you urgently need to pay someone in Singapore dollars and Hong Kong dollars, or if you're visiting US, you need US dollars. So you need a quick payment instrument. That is where Neo Global actually was the right product for them. So I think it's kind of cliched that need to know your customers well, but that's a reality. Even within neo banking space in India, I don't think there's a broad brush that you can paint everyone with.
True. So, Mr. Bisht, moving to credit businesses, we have seen that credit businesses are facing a lot of stress post-pandemic. So, how has NIYO reworked its plans?
Well, NIYO actually, credit was never, foundation of NIYO. In fact, if you look at banking, you would typically look at, there are two different side of balance sheet. There is one, the assets, which is typically what a loan would look like, for a bank. And then there is what we call as liabilities, which is typically what a deposit account looks like, in case of a bank. So NIYO's, all the products have been primarily deposit-led products. So what we have done is that in case of Bharat customers, people receive their salary in the bank accounts that we open for them. Then they are able to use that funds, throughout the course of the month. Similarly, in Neo Global, you basically you load your account that we give to you in partnership with DCB, and in that account, once you have money loaded, then you can expend or spend that money in other currencies that you would like. So, but fundamentally, it was always that you have the money in a debit-like instrument. And then you spend the money later on. So that was a use case for primary use case. We used to do a little bit of credit here and there, but credit was, as I said, is not the number one use case, or I would say the reason of existence of NIYO.
Right. So, what are the chief technology hurdles that you've faced in the NIYO banking space?
Yeah. I think from a technology point of view, fundamentally, we believe that we have all the technologies available to us, which we require at this point in time to serve our customers well. However, integration of those technologies, to give a smooth customer experience remains to be the challenge. So when you look at the backend integration or the backward integration with the incumbent banks, then you desire certain kind of APIs. And then while banks are working at the best they can, more often than not, you would find that the kind of APIs that you require are not there at your partner's bank's end. So you need to work with them, make sure those correct APIs are available. And to me, in last 2-3 years, actually, that has been the primary challenge. On the customer side, I think we have all the wherewithals in terms of technology. We have the products that we can rely on. And we also have the knowledge pool and the developer pool available to harness these technologies to give a right customer experience.
Great. So we have seen that NIYO is actively diversifying, particularly with the acquisition of Goldwise last year and the launch of NIYO Wealth. What are the other areas of high potential within the fintech domain that you are looking at closely?
Yeah, so NIYO, over a period of time, our idea was always that while taking deposits from customer actually will be that, but wealth was a natural progression, and that is why acquisition of Goldwise, into NIYO, it's actually rebranded as NIYO Money. Just like to correct you on that, and that is why, but it always felt like a natural progression for us, and which is what it is. I think in terms of as we look forward, particularly from our perspective, deepening our product suite on the NIYO Money side of it, that could be stockbroking, that could be insurance, in times to come, that will be the next frontier for us. And then of course, we always keep looking at how do we improve the customer experience for all set of customers that we acquire. That would be our product focus, Medha.
Okay, great. So finally, what have been your chief learnings in the course of your entire fintech journey so far?
Yeah, I think there are plenty, but for paucity of time, I'd like to name a few. I think really it's about if you somebody is looking at India market with a neo banking lens or Western market, it doesn't apply. It doesn't apply. Even if it applied, India is a very different market. So understanding our customers, having a deeper relationship with the customers, really understanding what their needs are, and then creating a product that the customer needs is the number one, I would say, learning. We have had our own share of learnings, if you will, where we had launched the products, then we required to, come back to the drawing board and, redo the product, and then, then saw the traction. So that's for me, the number one thing is that. Other thing is that India is such a vast market that everywhere that you basically launch a product, you are bound to actually get some traction. And then what happens is that, as founders, then you are somewhat trapped into this. Okay, this will scale, that will scale. Everything seems to scale in the beginning, right? But I think as founders, what you need to apply this lens. Okay, is this product going to bring us millions and millions of customers? Given that it is fintech, given that it is in India, if we are creating a product in which we cannot scale out to millions of customers at the very minimum, I don't think that product merits, further investment from founders' time, from teams' time, and dare I say, the VC money time also. So that way, I think that has been the chief learnings. How do you create? How do you go back to customers, understand their needs, and really focus on something which can scale into millions of customers? That to me is basically has been the learning.
Wonderful. That's all for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great week.
Okay, thank you very much.